Next on the news.
The flower is a symbol of life exemplified.
A Wall of Hope memorial has been created to remember the lives lost during those deadly tornadoes in Kentucky. We have a reporter on the ground with an army of volunteers trying to help survivors. Also, U.S. bishops are denouncing a decision by the FDA to allow abortion pills to be sent by mail.
This Christmas, people are saying, leave the Santa, I'm taking the angel. And one Brooklyn business has the numbers to back it up. I'm Jessica Easthope. That story's ahead.
Plus, on the day the Holy Father is celebrating his 85th birthday, we look back to find some interesting facts about his life. I'm Christine Persichetti. Current News starts right now. It's been days since those deadly tornadoes hit the heartland, and places like Kentucky are still picking up the pieces. The tragedy has left dozens dead, and as rescue missions turn to recovery efforts, the death toll is expected to increase. But for those in mourning, a new memorial has been created to help them heal. And as Rebecca Cardenas reports, the man behind the effort endured a tragedy of his own and understands their pain.
Here.
During what feels like a helpless moment.
You take the front and I'll take the back, okay?
Trina Cruz and her daughter were looking for ways to help.
So broad, so big, you don't know where to try to start. So we just stopped and asked what they were doing, asked if we could help.
Buckets of flowers seemingly just appeared in downtown Mayfield. Before long, passerby was pitching in to grow the Wall of Hope.
There's just something about flowers.
Leo Soto traveled to this small Kentucky town from Miami, Florida.
They were struck by a sudden tragedy where there's a lot of loss of life. I want to head there. I want to be able to help them.
The Wall of Hope was born of his own community's tragedy, started by Soto after the Surfside condo collapse.
I know what it's like to lose somebody that shouldn't have been lost.
Soto drove to Kentucky from Nashville, collecting flower donations along the way.
I know that there's a lot of families here that need the help, that need a place to come together and to begin to accept what happened here. And hopefully this is what this place becomes.
A simple gesture.
The flower is a symbol of life exemplified. So people seeing their loved ones, pictures of their loved ones surrounded by flowers, is seeing their loved ones surrounded by life.
With profound impact.
Thank you so much. For him to just think of us, little old Mayfield, that's makes you feel good.
Well, hopefully that they don't just move on, that they understand that this community is forever impacted, it's forever changed, and there has to be a certain amount of respect paid to the victims here.
That was Rebecca Cardenas reporting. Volunteers are coming into the state of Kentucky by the hundreds. John Lavenberg, national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, is standing by now at the distribution center set up at Christ the King Church in Madisonville to tell us about a big effort happening there. John, so what are the biggest needs that you're seeing right now?
So the biggest need right now, we're still at that stage where it's a lot of essential items that people need. People have been coming today getting generators, tarps because of the rain, and other essential items. You can kind of see here behind me what they have set up. They have winter coats, hats, gloves, scarves, some child's wear over there, more clothes, shoes. Those are boxes in the back there that they're using to bring things to locations that need it most. So that's kind of the gist of the operation here. It's anything that they need, an essential item. The door's open for people to come in. People that can't come in, they ship it out. And so that's the operation and how it's working here.
I'm seeing a few people behind you right now working, and you mentioned this was all spearheaded by a high school student, and that students make up a lot of the volunteers there. So what happens when they go back to school?
So when they go back to school, there's still that need that's going to be there. I spoke to Father Carl about that, and he mentioned, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, months later, people are still going to need those essential items. So he said he's going to try and partner with local organizations, Salvation Army, different YMCA, different organizations out here already helping to help distribute the items that they have. And he said it's also important, though, that they keep this stock, that they meet the immediate need, but at the same time, they make sure they still have supply to meet that need people still have, like he mentioned, 2, 3 weeks, even months out.
Sure. And what makes this situation worse is Christmas is next week. So what are you hearing about the people who've lost their homes? What are they planning to do?
You know, when it comes to Christmas, the biggest thing people say is they haven't thought about it much, but they do say when Christmas rolls around, they're just going to be happy that their families and them, that they're safe and they're going to be able to be together. I spoke with someone today who she partially lost, her and her family partially lost their home, and she said that you know, they had some presents that were salvaged and their tree and some ornaments were thrown about, but they're salvageable. But she said the biggest thing on that day is just going to be being together, knowing that they're safe, and then after that, still figuring out what lies ahead.
So true. John Lavenberg, national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux. Thanks for keeping us informed all week.
Thank you, Christine.
Stay with Currents News and the Tablet newspaper online throughout the weekend for continuing coverage of this tornado tragedy. The national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, John Lavenberg, will have exclusive reports about how the church and its people are picking up the pieces of their lives. The church down in Kentucky jumped into action almost immediately after the tornado struck. Earlier this week, we spoke with Bishop William Medley, who's spearheading efforts in the Diocese of Owensboro.
As far as the diocese, our Catholic Charities will spearhead our efforts to assist the victims, and it is overwhelming. We had a great response to the collection taken up in all of our churches on Sunday. I have heard from the bishops of several of our neighboring dioceses that they either took up a collection on the 12th or plan to take up a collection next weekend.
Bishop Medley says he's also received calls from people around the country who want to help. And if you're one of those people, you can help by going to owensborodiocese.org/give and make sure to click on Tornado Relief Catholic Charities for the donation destination. As the Supreme Court wrestles with the future of Roe v. Wade, the FDA Thursday loosened some restrictions on the medication mifepristone, allowing the abortion pills to be delivered by mail. Prescribing will still be limited to doctors who complete special certification, and dispensing pharmacies will have to register with the FDA. But the effect will vary by state. More than a dozen states have already passed measures that limit access to the pills, including outlawing delivery by mail, a move the bishops are applauding. The USCCB's pro-life chairman, Archbishop William E. Laurie of Baltimore, saying in a statement, "I call on leaders of every level of government to stand with women in need by promoting policies that recognize the value and human dignity of both mother and child, rather than further promoting the devastating tragedy of abortion." The highest court in the land has sent the Texas abortion law down to the lower courts. Justice Neil Gorsuch saying the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals should handle the next steps of litigation for the state's 6-week abortion ban. That court previously allowed the law to remain on the books and is likely to now send the case to the Texas Supreme Court. That whole process will likely take months. A man accused of a hate-filled vandalism spree in Lower Manhattan has been arrested. Police say 39-year-old James Ryan was caught on camera earlier this week spray painting swastikas on City Hall and the Charging Bull statue. Ryan is also accused of drawing 3 swastikas on the wall of a construction site on Maiden Lane back on December 3rd. He's charged with criminal mischief as a hate crime. There's a lot more news headed your way, decking the halls with the real reason for the season in mind, why religious decorations are flying off the shelves. Santa's Toy Shop is back in Brooklyn, how one Catholic organization is giving hope to kids in need this Christmas. And it's the Holy Father's 85th birthday. We look back to find some interesting tidbits about his life.
There are now some big changes to the Tablet website. You can get personalized access to the Catholic news you value. Sign up for free at thetablet.org.
The Christmas shopping season has been impacted by supply chain disruptions that are causing product shortages across the board, including Christmas trees and other secular holiday decorations. But religious decorations are in high demand this year. Jessica Easthope has more on that from Dyker Heights.
And this is the last one we sold out of her.
You'd never guess it, but at JJ's Christmas Trees, this is what an empty store looks like. Supply chain issues put a kink in their inventory.
That'll be it.
But sales are up. and the items flying off the shelves go much higher than reindeer.
Some that don't light up that are...
Maria LaRosa has been the manager at the Dyker Heights store for 3 decades. She says this year, more than any other, she's selling more religious than secular decorations.
They've never really asked for them before as much as they have now. Everyone's just looking up, I guess, to God and going back to their roots.
Sales on religious items are up 20%. The store started with 24 small nativity scenes, and they're all gone. And when they opened on Black Friday, they had around 20 large nativity scenes. That's down to just 4.
It was outdoors.
And they're not cheap.
It's $3.99.
But Maria says people are willing to pay the price of keeping Christ in Christmas.
There's always Christ around at Christmas in our house.
Christina Nant was shopping for a cross to put on her parents' grave. She says her home is already full of religious decorations, and she can see why others would want the same.
Needing your faith more would be validated by having these religious articles around or on the top of your tree.
Nick Bottolato was browsing for some validation of his own after turning toward his faith during the pandemic.
Especially what happened in the last year and a half or so. I think a lot of people looking around for items that, bring us closer to the reason for the season.
Buying these decorations might make customers feel closer to God. Maria says she feels that way just selling them.
For the last few years, don't go to church, but now I think I'm going to go back. I sell them like crazy this year.
Maria says next year she's planning to stock up on more religious items, knowing what people want and need. In Dyker Heights, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
Catholic Charities Brooklyn and Queens is giving hope to kids in need this holiday season. The organization set up Santa's Toy Shop at Brooklyn's St. Vincent Ferrer Church. Families in need picked out toys for their tiny tots, as well as some non-perishable food items. New York Project Hope counselors were also on site to offer free emotional support aid. Catholic Charities will be holding a second toy drive in Queens next Tuesday. The shop will be at Our Lady Evangelist Church in Rego Park from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. And RSVP is required, so if you're interested, just go to ccbq.org. The Tablet newspaper is also looking to help kids this holiday season. Their Bright Christmas campaign currently has $107,500 that will go to parishes and Catholic organizations around the diocese who will in turn help kids have a very Merry Christmas. But to reach their goal of $115,000, they're going to need your help. So if you'd like to donate to the Bright Christmas Fund, just head online to thetablet.org and click on Bright Christmas. Or if you're a subscriber to the paper, just fill out the slip provided inside. Make your check out to the Bright Christmas Fund and mail it to Bright Christmas LB number 2118, P.O. Box 95,000, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania 19195. With religious decorations a must-have this year, Pope Francis is encouraging Catholics to celebrate Christmas with a focus on Jesus Christ's closeness and not the commercial aspects of the holiday. The Holy Father tweeting, Christmas symbols, especially the crèche and trimmed tree, bring us back to the certainty that fills the heart with peace, with joy for the incarnation, to God who becomes familiar. He dwells with us. He fills our days with the rhythm of hope. Pope Francis welcomed a group of refugees from Africa and the Middle East at the Vatican. The group of about 10 had been living in Cyprus before the Pope relocated them to Italy. The Vatican says they will undergo a one-year integration program. The group includes doctors and computer technicians from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Cameroon, Somalia, and Syria. Still to come on Currents News, Pope Francis is celebrating an amazing milestone. A look at some surprising facts about the Holy Father as he turns 85. And Our Lady of Guadalupe was the talk of the town. Brooklyn Bishop Robert Brennan joins us after experiencing the spectacular devotion firsthand. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. A huge devotion on display at the Co-Cathedral of St. Joseph last weekend. Hundreds upon hundreds filling the church and the streets outside. It was a first for the new Bishop of Brooklyn, Bishop Robert Brennan. Bishop Brennan spoke with Currents News about the Marian Feast and how Brooklyn celebrated compared to other Our Lady of Guadalupe liturgies that he's experienced.
Well, it was great to see so many people there. I mean, that was amazing. The torch and the runners, that was a new element. But the celebration of Our Lady of Guadalupe is beloved by so many, certainly in Mexico, but has caught on in a big way here in the United States, largely among the Mexican-American communities, but really it goes across the board. So it was quite impressive, quite impressive.
And now I know a big part of your mission as Bishop of Columbus, Ohio, was to minister to the Latino community. From what you saw last weekend, how is the Brooklyn diocese different?
Well, the main thing is it's much larger. I mean, it's in fact, it gets close to a majority, if not in essence a majority. Certainly in the great parts of the diocese, it would be largely Hispanic, and that's a great blessing. It's great to be in the community and just living life with people. There's great love for our Lord.
And I know you're still getting to know everyone in the diocese, and you came here when the synod process was ongoing. So tell me about that.
Well, the synod process is underway. It's well timed. The parishes have had their sessions, or some of them are still having their sessions. And what will happen is each parish will then send 2 representatives to the deanery. And so we started doing that this week. Were my first experiences with the deanery sessions. And so we're getting the feedback, and it's great for me to hear from people. But that's accompanied by visits geographically to each of the regions, so we call them deaneries. So it's a chance for me to meet with our priest. I had a chance to have dinner, to talk with them. So far I've been to 2 of them, one in Queens and the other now in Brooklyn. And so each pastor goes around, I get a sense of what the parish is like, what the geography is like. I see how the parishes interact with each other. I'm learning a lot through that experience and getting to know some of our priests. But then the idea will be to have Mass. And when we go into those sessions, we want to be able to invite everybody from those deaneries to the Mass. It's a chance for us to encounter each other, and then so that I can get to meet a lot of people. People can get to meet me a little bit, and then we can help each other to see Jesus.
Diocese of Brooklyn Bishop Robert Brennan, thanks so much for joining us today.
And thank you to all of you. I wish you a great week of Advent. These are exciting days. We start to focus in on our Lord's birth. God bless you.
The Diocese of Brooklyn kicked off the opening of the brand new Emmaus Center in Williamsburg Monday with its annual Spirit of Christmas concert, a major fundraising push to help provide a Catholic education to generations of deserving students in Brooklyn and Queens. Currents News' Jessica Easthope was at the event and reports on the sights and sounds of the Christmas extravaganza.
Christmas Eve will find me.
The sound of the season is booming in Brooklyn. The Emmaus Center's grand opening and inaugural event, the Spirit of Christmas concert, was designed to be less of a concert and more of an experience.
I'm totally wowed. I love all the ambiance. I love the going back in time and the horse and carriage and the carolers.
They do it exceptionally festive. It brings you right up for your holiday season.
600 people, including the Diocese of Brooklyn's new shepherd, Bishop Robert Brennan, packed the former Williamsburg Opera House Monday night to see a show filled with performances from artists who are dedicated to their faith and were thrilled to be part of the historic night.
This wonderful facility now, I feel like I'm going to be calling home.
I'm not perfect. The event's host, Anthony Mangano, was back on stage for the first time since the pandemic and suffering a massive stroke earlier this year.
Just to be out there and to sing and to be able to sing, because God gave me a second chance, yeah, I feel really blessed.
Members of the audience were moved by the performances inside. But outside outside, people walking down Berry Street moved toward the Emmaus Center. A Christmas display outside meant to grab attention.
We want to attract people to come in. We want to try to evangelize to the people in this neighborhood who are unchurched, and hopefully through the arts we'll do that.
He shall reign forevermore.
The event benefited Futures in Education. All proceeds will go toward sending hundreds of students to Catholic school in Brooklyn and Queens. In Williamsburg, Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
If you'd like to make sure the gift of an excellent Catholic education continues to be a viable option for current and future generations of students in Brooklyn and Queens, just head online to futuresineducation.org and click Donate. A flame of light from the grotto in Bethlehem's Church of the Nativity has made its way to America. Parishioners at Immaculate Heart of Mary Catholic Church in Windsor Terrace light their lanterns using a flame transferred from the International Peace Light. It arrived at JFK last weekend. Now Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and other volunteers will carry the light across North America, bringing it to churches, hospitals, and other venues. It's the Holy Father's 85th birthday. Pope Francis got a round of birthday applause from Holy See cardinals, bishops, and priests who joined him for an Advent meditation Friday morning. And on this special day, we take a look back at his life before he became Pope, and we found some interesting facts about the Holy Father that you may not know. Claudia Torres reports.
Besides Argentina and the Vatican, the Pope has lived in Chile, Spain, Ireland, and Germany. He is fluent in Spanish, Italian, and German, and conversational in a number of other languages, including French and English. As Pope, he's often surprised the world with his unusual way of doing things. For example, he was the first Pope since the 1st century who chose a name not used by a predecessor.
Dominum Georgium Marium, Sancte Romani Ecclesiae Cardinalem Bergoglio.
And during his first Holy Thursday celebration as pontiff, Pope Francis made headlines when he celebrated it with inmates at a prison in Rome. But for him, it was nothing new. Already in Argentina, he had made it his custom to celebrate the washing of feet in places like jails, hospitals, retirement homes, and slums. But before becoming Pope Francis, Jorge Bergoglio held a number of very different jobs, from a bouncer at a club to a chemist in a lab. In fact, when he was younger, he had a very different idea for his future.
E adesso è cambiata l'idea, ovviamente, ma la tua domanda, quando era piccolo, io pensavo diventare un macellaio, mi piacerebbe.
A butcher. That was Claudia Torres reporting. Pope Francis once described birthdays as an occasion in which to remember all that God has done for us, saying that memory is an aspect of life and that it is a great misfortune to lose it. And that is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.